Awesome. So I love the movie. I mean, I just thought it was great. And I want to begin by asking you, I know that really the genesis of the project was sort of you having this footage that you were afraid was going to disintegrate.
Right.
And bringing it to David and asking to, how do we preserve this?
Mm-hmm.
When he sort of offered the idea of doing a documentary, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah. He said you should do something with this. It's a really great story, is sort of the idea that when it first came up for the idea for the film. And I thought, there's a lot of personal stuff. What do you do? But I also felt like I wanted to tell my story too. So, when I offered it, well, maybe you could help me out with this. And he said, yes, I'll I've never done a documentary. He's only been a narrative filmmaker. So I trusted him with all the stuff, with all the story, the personal moments, and that he wouldn't exploit certain things. And he took really good care of the story. So I'm really glad for that.
How did you feel sort of watching the footage for the first time or watching it over again? I mean, was it sort of a cathartic experience?
Yeah. At the beginning it was really heavy to look back through it, and then I would go there and watch it and then come home every day with this heaviness of time travel maybe. And now, I'm far enough away, and I've gone through the process of the film and the process of seeing, everyone's interviews and everyone's sort of perspective on things, and it's healed a lot of my feelings around everything. And so, yeah, the film itself was a really great project in that way, to sort of bring us back together and sort of clear things. Now that I'm a grown up rather than the kid I was in
right.
a lot of the footage, I can. It's good to have sort of adult relationships with my bandmates.
Well, and Eric, let me ask you, how did you feel when David and Patty asked you to be a part of this and do the interviews? How did it feel to sort of, did you have any reluctance, or how did it feel to kind of reminisce? You did.
Yeah, because I'm well aware that when you start talking about the past, it comes back to get you. So it's I had a feeling that so I was like a little hesitant, but then also I started realizing that thinking back over the story, and when they started telling me a few of the things, like I had no clue what had happened to Patty, what her journey was like after leaving the band. I just heard rumors, and I didn't want to trust those. And so once I started to hear what she had gone through, I was like, wow, okay, like we need to, and I felt, I want to support this, and tell my view of what happened too, and then it was really exciting to see, the film in finished form, and then learn even more about her whole life, that it's like you play in a band with somebody for a few minutes. I mean, for a few years. Like, it seems like a few minutes, and it's like and you see, and you think that you know them as a person because you're around them every day, but you don't know their whole journey through life, and so it was exciting to see, and then also be able to support and mend relationships from the past, and really, because, I don't know, she didn't know my feelings of what went down, and I didn't know her feelings of what went down, so it's just all that stuff is just stirred up again,
Well, seeing you both together on sitting on a couch so close together, I mean, I would assume that this has sort of brought you guys back together in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we see each other since, of all the people in the band, I've always kind of kept in touch with Courtney here and there, and then Melissa a bit, but since the film, Eric lives, in town. We live in the same city, so, he'll come over, we'll meet up at the market, and he'll come and pick tangerines out of our tree, and so, yeah, I see him a lot more now.
What was the hardest part for both of you? What was the hardest period of your life and period of maybe the life of the band for you, Eric, to sort of discuss with David and Todd and to kind of open up with an audience for this film?
Yeah. Well, for me, difficult part was talking about when, you know, I was on the street, and that stuff was really difficult. And then also talking about the emotions behind Celebrity Skin and the recording and all that, you know, still, you know, that stuff still inside and still kind of, you know, those feelings then were so intense that I could just conjure them up so quickly in talking and telling the story, you know.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I mean, I think the Celebrity Skin stuff, that what happened in the studio and what went down and how we reacted to it, or how we dealt with whatever we were dealing with, you know, dealt with the situation with the producer and the record company and the management, and just got, you know, caught up in it all and lost touch with, you know, the bonds that had formed in the band, and so that's the hardest part, because you're going back and stuff that might have gotten swept under the rug is now you have to face it, and it's always uncomfortable to face that stuff. But the great thing is that once you face it, it's done, and you're like you're free, and you gotta let it go and move on. And so, you know, hopefully the anger, you know, stirred up, and you know, kind of the guilt or shame or whatever we have from whatever went down will start to, you know, recede and lessen in our lives, and so we can like just really heal and, you know, move forward as better people. And you know,
well, you were all so young when Celebrity Skin happened, when it all happened, really.
Yeah.
I mean, do you kind of look back now, especially after sort of opening up in the process of this film, do you look back and kind of think of things you would have done differently, or wish that you could have done different, regrets perhaps about the period?
Yeah, you know, I look back on it and go, what if I didn't have a drug problem? Holy, you know, what would have been like then, you know?
Mm.
But that you know, that's part of me, so, you know, and you know, what if I didn't make that decision to just check out, you know, after, you know, recording in Celebrity Skin? What if I stayed and stuck in there, you know? But, of course, there's those moments in anyone's life where they think, what if I just turned left instead of right? But, you know.
Yeah, like I mean, I have a whole list of regrets of stuff, but I mean, it's like I can't let them rule my life. You know, it's kind of you have to just accept that's where you were, and that's why you made those decisions, and learn from them, learn from those mistakes, and you know, those mistakes are our friends now, because they're allowed us to come together in a really great way. It's if they didn't happen, what would have happened if we didn't make those mistakes? You know, that's like, that could be scary. You know,
why don't we get Steve Albini to record that record? So different.
It would have been completely different. I also really liked the fact that the movie, in a sense, is a tribute not only to yourself and to the band, but to women drummers in general.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that aspect of the film?
I really wanted that to be a part of it as well, because growing up, you know, talking about those women and growing up and having them as women I looked up to, that, you know, Sandy West from the Runaways, Gina Schock, and then Alice DeBurr, and then having them speak in the film was a huge thing just for me, because they were women I looked up to, and you know, and it's a great feeling to have girls say I started playing drums because of you, you know, that's huge, and because I have those women in my life too, and we need them, you know, we need more of them.
Yeah, I really liked how, you know, you're really someone that the girls in the film, that your students who look up to you. That's a really nice moment in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Courtney is interviewed in the film, and she's always so unpredictable. You never know what she's going to say. Did anything she said in the film surprise either of you?
No. She didn't surprise me at all. No.
Are you so used to it now that there's nothing
you know,
can really surprise you?
She made up some numbers.
Yeah, she made up. Yeah, totally. That was what I was going to say. Was her facts are a bit.
Wait, what numbers? What do you mean?
Well, she's an extremist. She tends to blow everything up.
Everything's padded by, you know, 1 million. So add 1 million to everything.
She does. Yeah. 1 million cookies.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that it's I'm always amazed at the detail
Oh, yeah.
that comes from her brain.
Yeah.
It's like she really remembers like some amazing details of things that you're like, what? You weren't even present. How do you know? Like,
How do you know what
How do you
happened?
know what happened? But she'll know like this
Yeah,
exact
like her
detail
ear
of
is
something.
listening,
Yeah.
but the rest of her isn't. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
weird.
know.
Well, the last thing I want to ask you guys, because I'm a huge fan, as I said, of Hole, and all the music from the 90s. And I think when people think of, for lack of a better term, the grunge era or the 90s,
Right.
90s music, you know, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and maybe Soundgarden, but like bands that I think of like Mudhoney and Lemonheads and Veruca Salt and Luscious Jackson, a lot of these great bands from that era. What were some of your Sonic Youth? What were some of your favorites, you know, of your peers from that era? From your era?
Yola Tango, huge favorite. Pavement, My Bloody Valentine, everything they did was amazing. Yeah, Stone Roses,
Yeah.
love them. I love all the Brit bands, are amazing. And, you know, Mudhoney, of course. Yeah. Oh, Galaxy 500, another one.
Yeah, there's a long list.
Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah. And then we would go off, and then there would be prolapse. And,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Other,
Stereo Lab.
you know, the other side of things, but yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, thank you guys so much for talking to me. I love the movie. It's really great, and congratulations on everything and coming back together.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.